This is G Synopsis. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today we are moving on to the chapter 5 of the book titled The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And the title says of chapter 5 says, You are always choosing. Two things we'll be pointing out in today's chapter is personal realization and taking responsibility for our action. So I'll be reading this part that says, when we feel we are choosing our problems, we feel empowered. When we feel that our problems are being forced upon us against our will, we feel victimized and miserable. It's super true because, there are some people that are forced to study a particular course in school and it doesn't just go well with them.
Yeah. So the chapter started by telling us a story about a certain guy. His name is William James.
Yes.
Okay, so William is from a very wealthy home.
Yeah.
His father is a successful businessman, but then he had a rough upbringing. He had a bad stomach and a bad back. He was sick basically most of the time.
Yeah.
So that kept him home. He doesn't really go out and socialize with people.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his brother and his sister went on to become renowned writers and novelists. And his father tried his best for him to, move up a little bit. At some point, his father used his influence to get him into Harvard Medical School.
Yeah.
But he dropped out because he wasn't really feeling it. And he went on an expedition in South Africa. And his sickness kicked him back. I don't know why he went on an expedition like that. Probably maybe he was just trying to find himself.
Yeah.
Then his sickness kicked in. He almost died in that place. So at some point, he went back home. He made it back to England. And when he got home, he met a lot of disappointment. Obviously, his father would be like, I told you so. We put you in school, but you go expedition. At some point, he was reading a book. That is the power of reading. That is the power of picking a piece sometimes and just reading. He was reading a lecture from another philosopher.
Yeah.
And he made a personal realization that in that 1 year, he would believe that he was totally responsible for everything that has gone wrong in his life.
Yeah.
Then he picked a book and wrote that down and say, I will take responsibility for all my actions. And within that 1 year, he will do everything in his power to change his situation. And he did. James went on to be the father of American psychology.
Yes.
Right? And his works were interpreted in different languages all over the world. He was successful to the brim.
Yeah, so true. And this brings me to this part I want to read. There is a simple realization from which all personal improvement and growth emerges. This is a realization that we individually are responsible for everything in our lives, no matter the external circumstances.
That's pretty straightforward. But relating it back to James's story, he took responsibility for his life.
Yes.
All the excuses he was given before, probably because of his illness, he put all of those aside. And he took absolute responsibility for his life.
Read this by saying, with great power comes responsibility. And the more we choose to accept our responsibility in our lives, the more power we exercise over our lives. Accepting responsibility for our problem is thus the first step to solving them. And that will bring me to this part I want to read about James. When he stumbled on the book, it says, but one night, while reading lectures by philosopher Charles Person, James decided to conduct a little experiment. In his diary, he wrote that he would spend 1 year believing that he was 100% responsible for everything that happened in his life, no matter what. And that helps him. And that helps him. During this period, he would do everything in his power to change his circumstances, no matter the likelihood of his failure.
Still on personal realization.
And I will ask you this question. During your fish farming, you took absolute responsibility for what happened.
Okay, let me give you a brief story about it. The first fish farming I did, I was a rookie, but I've read a lot of things online, right? So, but then practical is totally different from theory. I've read a lot of. I thought I was okay. I thought I was ready. So instead of me to start small, I started so big. I had a big fish pond that was ready for me. I just put a lot of fish in it, about 3,000 pieces. It was a lot. And for someone that is starting it afresh, you need to start small so that when you make mistakes, you'll be able to correct it. But this was a lot for me at that time.
So this is based on personal realization. We need to be truthful with ourselves and figure out what we really want and make conscious efforts on it, basically. To read this part and says, a lot of people hesitate to take responsibility for their problems because they believe that to be responsible for your problem is also to be at fault for your problem.
Yeah, basically that happens a lot.
That happens a lot, and I'm going to read this part that says, but there are also problems that we are not at fault for, yet we are still responsible for them.
Yeah.
This is so true.
Yes.
So for instance, if a baby was dropped dusted, it's not your fault that the baby was dropped there.
Put there,
but it now depends on you if you want
whatever
to take
baby
in to feed it, or either to take that baby to the police and report the case. So that is it. So there's difference between a problem being your fault and taking responsibility for it, basically. So
same as this, as you are watching this video, right?
Exactly. We are choosing to watch this video, and you are also choosing to analyze what we are talking about. So whatever you conclude on is your responsibility, basically. So there's difference between these distinct concepts, really. And I'm going to read this part. It says, here's one way to think about the distinction between the two concepts. Fault is a past tense, responsibility is present tense. Fault results from choices that have already been made. Responsibility results from the choices you are currently making every second of the day. That's the job, basically.
When you're faulting yourself, you are going back. You are not moving on. That is past. Forget about the fault. Like I said in the previous video, take responsibility.
Move forward.
Responsibility is the future. It's moving forward.
During your fish farming.
Yes.
Your fish farming.
Yes.
How did you take the action?
Okay,
did you fault yourself? Did you take responsibility?
Well, during my fish farming, and the first one I did, I made a huge mistake. And that is taking responsibility for my actions. And this was the mistake. I started so big. The capacity was too much for a rookie, for someone that was starting for the first time. So I couldn't manage it. A lot of mistakes happened. But I learned from every bit of it. From the capacity, from the number of fishes, from the pond, from the food I give them. I took responsibility for all of those actions. And those are the things I later put together that I learned from, that made it better.
So this applies to someone that also fail a particular exams.
You fail a particular exam.
You need to take responsibility and
it's not,
make it better.
Maybe you have been faulting yourself. Oh, okay. Maybe I was late there. I took a taxi, or the bus driver wasn't fast enough. That's not their problem. Take responsibility.
Get up early.
Go if you want to get there early. If you are reading a book, find the proper books. If you are going on,
like that. So I will also talk about that. When someone don't even make up meet their business targets, you still have to take responsibility. It's nobody's fault. So I'm going to read this part that says, there is a difference between blaming someone for your situation and that person is actually being responsible for your situation. Nobody else is ever responsible for your situation but you.
We are always held responsible
for our actions.
Not pushing faults to people. Is it because it's not picking my call? Why is it not? No. Take responsibility for yourself, for your actions, all your actions, basically.
We're always choosing what
to give fucks about.
So
the power belongs to us.
The power belongs to us, basically, and we don't need to fault anybody. For this.
If you choose to give fucks about irrelevant thing, it's your choice.
It's your choice, basically.
And if you put your fucks into things that are very, very important, it is also your responsibility.
The power belongs to you, basically. So my take from this book is from these parts. So the real question is, what are we choosing to give a fuck about? What are the values we are choosing to base our actions on? What metrics are we choosing to use to measure our lives? Are these good choices good values, and good metrics. So to relate back to these questions I just asked.
For me, my take from this chapter, let me read this place out. You are already choosing in every moment of every day what to give a fuck about.
Yes.
So change is as simple as choosing to give a fuck about something else. So like we said before,
Yes.
the power belongs to you.
To you.
You are already choosing in every moment of the day
Every
what
second.
you choose to give a fuck about. Everything. It's the power belongs to you.
you.
When you want to wake up, what you want to eat,
How
when
you
you want
plan
to
your
go out,
day.
how you plan your day. So it's all depends on you.
And we should always choose right. We shouldn't blame someone for the outcome of everything we do. We should be responsible for it.
Putting our thoughts into things that are of most importance.
Important. Good values. It's really important. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please choose to like, to share, and to subscribe. My name is Folashade.
My name is Tose.
See you guys in our next video. Bye.